He was not supposed to be there that afternoon. The office building was meant to be empty, silent, predictable. Just another structure owned by a man whose life had become ruled by schedules and certainty.
I advise you to
But when he
reconsider your
returned
position
early,
before it's too
carrying
late.
the quiet confidence of a self-made millionaire, one small, ordinary object left behind on a desk would unravel everything he thought he knew about loyalty, sacrifice, and the invisible burdens people carry. What he discovered that day did not just shock him. It changed the direction of his life forever. If you believe in kindness, quests, and second chances, take a moment right now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. Stories like this only matter when they reach hearts that still believe compassion can change lives. Jonathan Miller was known across the United States as a disciplined, brilliant businessman who built his fortune from nothing. Raised in a modest Christian household, he learned early that hard work and faith were meant to walk together. His success came from relentless focus, but also from emotional distance. Employees respected him, admired him, and feared disappointing him, but very few truly knew him. He believed fairness meant paying people well and expecting excellence in return. Emotions, he thought, complicated things unnecessarily. One winter afternoon, Jonathan returned to his company headquarters hours earlier than planned after a business trip was cut short. The building was nearly empty, lights dimmed, hallways echoing with the quiet hum of machines. As he walked past the accounting department, he noticed a small purse resting on a chair beside one desk. It was unusual, left behind carelessly. The nameplate on the desk read Emily Harris, one of the most punctual and reliable employees in the entire firm. Jonathan knew her only through numbers and performance reviews. She never complained, never arrived late, never asked for favors. He intended to ignore the purse, but something about its worn appearance caught his attention. The stitching was frayed, the handle cracked, clearly used far longer than it should have been. Concerned about security, Jonathan picked it up to take it to Lost and Found. As he did, it tipped slightly, and its contents shifted. A folded envelope slid out, landing at his feet. Without meaning to pry, he noticed his own company's logo on the envelope. Confused, he opened it, expecting paperwork. Instead, he found medical bills, overdue notices, and a handwritten prayer tucked between them. The prayer was simple, written in careful handwriting, asking God for strength to keep going, for protection over a sick child, and for forgiveness for any mistakes made out of desperation. Jonathan stood frozen. He had approved employee health benefits himself. Yet the bills told a different story. As he examined the purse further, now unable to look away, he found prescription bottles with a child's name, photos of a young boy with tired eyes, and a small envelope labeled emergency rent. The realization hit him slowly, painfully. Emily Harris, his most dependable employee, was silently drowning. Jonathan felt something unfamiliar tighten in his chest. He returned the purse carefully to the chair, suddenly ashamed of his curiosity but unable to erase what he had seen. That evening, he could not focus. The image of the prayer haunted him. It was not written by someone careless or irresponsible. It was written by someone exhausted, faithful, and afraid. Over the following days, Jonathan began paying closer attention. He noticed Emily staying late, skipping lunch, hiding coughs and exhaustion behind professionalism. He learned through discreet inquiries that her son had been battling a chronic illness for years, that her husband had passed away unexpectedly, and that she had never once asked the company for special treatment. She believed hard work was her offering to God, and silence was her burden to carry. Jonathan struggled internally. Part of him wanted to intervene immediately. Another part, shaped by years of detachment, questioned whether personal involvement crossed a line. But each day, the memory of the prayer pulled him back. He realized how easy it had been for him to judge people's worth by performance alone, never asking what storms they survived just to show up. The change began quietly. Jonathan personally reviewed the company's healthcare policies and discovered gaps he had overlooked. He authorized immediate changes, expanding coverage retroactively, ensuring children with chronic illnesses were fully supported. He arranged financial assistance programs under the guise of company improvements, protecting Emily's dignity while easing her burden. He also began funding anonymous scholarships and emergency funds for employees facing crises, something he had never considered necessary before. One evening, Jonathan stayed late again. He watched Emily leave, shoulders slumped, yet still stopping to straighten chairs and turn off lights. He realized then that leadership was not about distance. It was about responsibility, about seeing people not as roles, but as souls. Weeks later, Emily's health improved. Her son's treatments were finally consistent. The fear that had shadowed her began to lift, replaced by cautious hope. She never knew about the purse, never knew the exact moment everything changed. But Jonathan did, and it humbled him more than any failure ever had. Near the end of this story, if it touched your heart or made you see people differently, please comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps stories like this reach others who may need the reminder. Just before the ending, please comment below if you believe that unseen kindness can change lives more than public success ever will. Jonathan Miller never told anyone about that afternoon. He did not need recognition. The lesson stayed with him quietly, shaping every decision he made from that day forward. He learned that wealth without compassion was empty, that true leadership required courage to care, and that sometimes God uses the smallest accidents to reveal the deepest truths. The shocking secret was never in the purse alone. It was in the realization that greatness is measured not by what people produce, but by what they endure in silence.